Good day, everybody. This is Jerry from BackCountry Wrenching, and welcome to another video. Today's video, I'm hoping to get the axle truss welded in place on my Dana 30 axle so we can get it back underneath the Jeep. In the last video, I wanted to get that done, but I kind of ran out of time. But I did get the axle prepped where I'm going to be welding, and I just got the truss up top here because I'm going to have to spray it down with some copper weld through primer, because the way this truss is designed versus the Artec truss just had one beam that went through the middle and then up on top, where this is like a double here, so you can't get inside every little nook and cranny once it's welded on. So I want to try to get something in there before we put it in place. I'll let that sit up for about a half hour and take care of some business outside. TC's on a mission. For this coming year, I decided to get my own bear burrito for summertime camping, so I'm going to be pretty excited to try this out. It's got its own little mat and everything. It's like a little miniature coffin for when you're out sleeping, but hope it's going to work out good. The bag packaging's pretty big. I just packed up the tent. This should be good to set up. Set it in place so we can start tack welding it all together. So now I'm just trying to line this up. Try to get these control arm mounts to be as close as possible to being square. It'll make things a lot easier when I go to fit up the control arms. This piece here doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But this piece does, because part of the control arm goes through. So the measurements will be out just a little bit. I think right about there will be perfect. Not quite butted up, but just right in that spot. Sure you turn the gas on. Oh, I got that magnetic weld cup. Why don't I just use that instead of screwing around? This is going to be a treat to weld, so we're going to see how it's going to go. I'm going to do the cast last because I'm going to have to heat it up and then cover it with a blanket. But I'd like to get the main truss part put in, weld sections at a time, go over there, flip it over, do the back side, opposite side, let it cool down a few minutes, keep going back and forth. I had the wire get kind of jammed up there. The fuck, this ground clamp just shit? Or what the fuck? Oh. Let's do this the old-fashioned way. I don't have to worry. struggle is real as I got crap all over the place. But the main section of the truss is welded in. This one here is just welded in on the metal side because everything else is going to be on the cast. So we just got to weld the cast in now, and I'll tackle that later. I'm going to heat it up with a torch and then weld it, cover it with the welding blanket, peen it with a hammer first before we cover it, and then continue. Alright, the cooling fan just kicked out. I'm going to power it off now. I'm going to talk about how crazy inflation has gotten since I bought this welder. I think I've had it 4 or 5 years now, I believe. A few years ago, I purchased that welder from KMS Tools. It was on sale at the time, and I believe I only paid around $2,600. And I was at KMS Tools earlier today because I got my welding bottle certified, and then I took it to KMS Tools to get it filled with argon, and it was only like $52 to get it filled full of argon so I could do some more TIG welding. Anyways, I had an hour to wait because that's how long it was going to take, because I had a bunch of other bottles ahead. So I was just looking at all the different equipment and everything else. And that ESOB Rebel right now in Canada, in Calgary, if you were to buy that right now, is almost $4,000. I almost shit my pants how much it's gone up in just a short time. Not only that, a few years ago, my cousin purchased one of those ultralight trailers that you could pull behind a small SUV. They're basically like a small overland teardrop trailer. And back in the day, and we're not talking, when I say back in the day, we're talking like a few years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago max. He paid $10,000 with tax for that trailer, brand new, from the dealership. And I was looking at him, I'm like, okay, because I remember how much my cousin had paid for that trailer, and I'm like thinking, you know what, I could buy one of those trailers, go over it, modify it for my purpose or needs to go light off-road, and it'd be perfect. So I started looking at them. They've doubled in price. Doubled in price. They want $20,000 for them now. Like, my cousin could actually turn around and sell his trailer for a profit, even though he's had it for like 5 years. That's insane how much inflation is getting out of hand. Anyways, I'm going to take a break, come back, then we're going to set that truss up. Something else I picked up when I was at KMS Tools was this Irwin 1 1/4 inch speed bore wood bit here, because I wanted to make a rocket stove, and I bought a bushcraft model that obviously doesn't go on a drill, but you'd have to put like a big stick in it. I'm going to tell you, with the drill, that was a lot of work. It's another nice spring day, and TC's enjoying the fresh airs in his kennel. Coming back over here, and how this failed. Partially is because operator error, and partially because of the design. Now, personally, I would have not had paint on the bottom. I would have had that bare metal, and probably would have had this a form of magnetic steel as well, so it would always stick down. So what happened is there's a spring inside, but this copper piece, obviously our brass piece wasn't touching, probably you can see the arc strike. So the arc obviously transferred to the spring, melted it, caused it to fail. But in the future, I think I'm going to replace that with a steel bolt. That way, when it's magnetic down, this will go down too. And sand these sides here. And see if I can find a little small spring in my garage. Coming back now to the aux locker. I need to pull the cover off, drain the oil, because I got a lube locker gasket. And when I'm welding inside here, it's going to be too close for comfort. And the heat will probably melt that gasket. All that juicy goodness. And the lube blocker should just come off nice and easy. is gonna heat her up now. I have it wrapped up, but like I said, I didn't feel good about the weld and the cast being so impregnated with oil that I wouldn't be surprised if some of the welds cracked. But do my best, heated it up, welded it, wrapped it, see what happens. Fedor just came over because somebody had welded a hitch onto the Crossmember, and what do you need to take? He wants to put the anti-rock on this Jeep, but he can't because someone had put the hitch on. Bumpers off. Somebody had a front-mounted hitch, and that's what they did. They cut a hole in the Crossmember, ran it down, and that's the anti-rock sway bar. But might actually be good because it goes through the tube. He's got the new bushings, so we may not have to get violent with it. So that's what we had to do. We had to cut part of it out to cut that inside out so that the rod can go through without touching it. Then we're going to weld the center section back in. Looks like my dead blow didn't last. It says lifetime guarantee, but I guess the reviews on Amazon were right when it said that people had issues with it splitting apart.
Bigger than my double pin.
Backyard fix is completed. We cut that plate out. Cut behind there. You can still see some of the plasma cutting because we need to get the bar through, and it was catching on that hitch mount that someone put in there. And then welding's not pretty because it's outside and the mid gasket's blown away and looks like acid or flux core would have came in handy. But we just kind of threw it in and just give it a quick grind job because no one's going to see it once the bumper's put back on. Is it cuddle time, Stoms? Is it cuddle times? What are you doing? Are you just cuddled up to your human? Are you? Yeah? Just a cuddle time? Now that I got the rocket stove completed and fixed up properly with the grill, I really enjoy cooking on it, more so than trying to use a barbecue, even though my barbecue is natural gas. I prefer cooking over wood myself, and the modifications turned out really well. After I cooked up a steak, just getting the fire going, got some Citizen Brewing Company Senior Citizen Dark Mexican Lager, and I got a cigar that I'm going to be smoking. Fedor's coming over, so I want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.